Yeah, just incredible what life looks like in Ukraine at the moment. The economic impact of Russia's incursion will be felt immediately as well. Higher oil prices and a lower stock market. The immediate consequences. Business editor Ross Greenwood joins me now, and stock markets have just opened, the ASX. What's it going to be like here over the next couple of days?
It's going to be pretty volatile. That's the one thing it will be. There's no doubt, Laura. In actual fact, our stock market, which did fall heavily yesterday, as soon as it was announced that those incursions had taken place by Russia in Ukraine territory, it did fall here and continued to fall overnight, it would be fair to say. But our stock market has just opened. It had been in negative territory. You can see here right now it is relatively flat. The other thing, though, that has been impacted is quite clearly energy prices. This means oil, it means petrol, it means all of these things. And last night you saw that the oil price, which you can see here, is rising rapidly in the past few days, has got basically out to around $92.35 US a barrel, with expectations it could go to $100 US a barrel. If that's the case, if you're paying at the moment here in Australia around about $1.90 at the peak of the fuel cycles right now in major capital cities, then it's highly likely that you're going to see petrol prices getting out above $2 a litre. Now, that seems almost inevitable. Many people who are right now buying either the 95 or the 98 RON petrol are going to be already paying well above $2 a petrol, but it seems as though all petrol prices could be heading there. The only thing strangely holding it down a little is the Australian dollar, which by being so low right now actually does just assist just to a certain extent, a little bit of that, but not much. I've got to say, really, above $2 a litre is probably on the cards right now.
Yeah, OK, we're not far from that as it is anyway. What about the sanctions that have been announced by the US, Europe and Britain overnight? Australia is soon to join that. What impact is it going to have?
So there's a few bits and pieces here. The UK and the US have put sanctions on different individuals and actual banks themselves. But in both cases, they are certainly financial institutions that are very close to Vladimir Putin. Now, the second thing about this is that there's a giant gas pipeline that's just been completed worth about 16 billion Australian dollars. Now, this particular pipeline, which goes under the Baltic Sea, goes along another gas pipeline, which goes in the same place, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Now, Germany has indicated that that pipeline will not be approved, so the gas will not flow from Russia into Europe that way. But there are also other pipelines that go through Ukraine. They're highly sensitive and clearly very important. But in regards to those sanctions, let's go to Joe Biden, the US president, overnight, just for his take on why those sanctions are important.
We're implementing full blocking sanctions on two large Russian financial institutions, VEB and their military bank. We're implementing comprehensive sanctions on Russia's sovereign debt. That means we've cut off Russia's government from Western financing.
Yeah, that is a pretty big call, but you'd hope just a first step, and you hope he's got a few things up his sleeve. Australia's going to make that call. It's been flagged. There's a National Security Committee meeting as we speak. Now, given the two-way trade with Russia is pretty low anyway, Ross, what kind of impact can Australia really have?
Oh, really, all it is trying to join other allies, I guess, in really imposing those sanctions. It is not something that Australia can really help out. Interestingly enough, Australia has a surplus of gas. We're the second largest, or in fact the first largest exporter of gas in the world. We can't even help Europe with that, because most of the gas, if it is to replace, is probably going to come out of Qatar rather than coming out of Australia. But the second part about it is also it's about trying to make certain we stand alongside. For example, a Russian company has an interest in an aluminium smelter, which, of course, you've got Rio Tinto was a major investor on in Queensland. That's small in the whole scheme of things. But the idea is to really stop any form of, sort of Russian influence anywhere else in the world. That is the reason why these sanctions have been put in place, and the reason why they're trying to target, in particular, people who are very, very close to Vladimir Putin, so that the impact does actually hit close to home for him.
Yep, absolutely. That company, the aluminium smelter, I think their Russian interest is only about 20% there. But look, anyway, here locally, there's a host of profit reports out today. Woolworths, Westfield owner Scentre Group, Stockland, Domino's Pizza. Will they change the market outlook?
Look, they do a little bit in actual fact. It might be one of the reasons why the markets have started a little higher. Let's start with Woolworths and take you through some of these very, very quickly. Woolworths, for example, have cut their dividend. That's the big surprise here. The net profit, you can see, is down 6.5%. What its chief executive, Brad Banducci, has said has been one of the most challenging halves that the business has actually experienced during its time. The sales there, though, up by 8%. Omicron has affected it. If we go to Scentre Group, now this is the business that owns all of the Westfield centres around Australia. You can see here the revenues are much higher, profit also significantly higher, and the dividend, that is for the full year. Here also, Peter Allen, its chief executive, said he will be standing down in September. And finally, we head to Domino's and just having a look at the Domino's pizza. It's an interesting one. It's a bit hard to gauge this one because the way in which they report it, but clearly more pizza being sold around the world because they've got the business in 4 European countries as well. Net profit down by some 7%. However, Don May, who is the chief executive of Domino's, he'll be on business now this afternoon.
Looking forward to it. Don't miss that one. Ross, thanks so much.
Okay.